How you guys doing? Good. Yeah, it's good to be back out there. Um, some stuff for you. It was good to get back on the field. It's always a sobering, humbling experience the first time you go out with your new team. You have a great winter, you're fired up, and then you realize we got a long way to go. But that's what practice is for, to get better and better and better, and that's what we'll do. We got a great group of individuals that are going to make up a great team. Some of the first-year guys, that are just started in January, they did a really nice job, acclimating to our program and figuring it out, and got a chance to go. We have some roster stuff I'll address on the opening, and I wrote it down so I don't forget. Flynn Appleby is done playing. He decided that he's an older guy, and he just decided he had enough of football. So we'll be okay. We have some punters in the program. We're recruiting another punter from overseas, from in Australia, and we're going to be just fine. Jacob Allen, Jake Eldridge, and Joe DeCroce all medically retired for different things. Position changes. Thomas Amankwa was moved to wide receiver. Jesse O'Fury was moved to defensive back. Junior Valai, who you didn't get to see a lot of because of his recovery last fall, is moved to DB. And Jordan Walker was moved to defensive line. Injuries, Tyreen Powell, you know that he had the wrist. Unfortunately, during our as he was able to get back into training, he tore his Achilles, but he's already been surgically repaired, and we expect him to be ready to go for the season. So we're working on that. So I'll answer anything else I can, and then we'll get this thing moving. So.
Greg, with the Tyree thing, how does that impact linebacker, and how do you see that position filling out?
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened, but really he's, on schedule to be back for when he was on schedule to be back with the wrist. So it's not a big difference. It's just now he's got two things. He's got to rehab, not one. Tyree is an incredibly positive individual who works incredibly hard. He'll be ready to go.
On the similar front, guys that had season-ending injuries, Chris Long and Tyler Needham are two guys that come to mind. Are they full go in spring?
Full go, yeah.
And different topic, you guys obviously brought in a transfer quarterback in Ethan Calicanis. One, why bring in a transfer quarterback? Two, why was Ethan the right guy? And how do you see the battle kind of shaking out?
Well, we felt we needed to strengthen our performance at the position, and whether it's with Gavin, who played all of last season, brought in someone that we thought could help strengthen it. We also brought in, we have Johnny Shepard in the program, and we have a freshman that is starting now. A.J. Serace has been with us all winter. So we have 4 scholarship quarterbacks in the program right now, and they'll compete, and we'll figure out who gives us the best chance to win.
In terms of quarterbacks, 4 scholarship quarterbacks is a little unique. What's the plan in the spring in terms of splitting up reps? How do you navigate the competition early on?
I mean, it's unique in this day and age because of the transfer portal, but forever you actually used to have 5 quarterbacks on scholarship if you were fortunate enough to. So that's not an issue. We 2-spot a lot of drills, which means you have 2 full drills, O versus D, going at the same time. So there's plenty of reps.
Obviously, you have a couple new coaches on the defensive staff, and Julian and Colin. I guess what made those guys the right coaches to add? And then how do you kind of determine the coaching structure and how to allocate those resources? So having a defensive ends coach and foregoing a full-time dedicated linebackers coach, I guess what's that decision process?
Yeah, that's a great question. First off, Julian and Colin are excellent coaches. It's weird, right, because I see you guys now, and it's the first time, but I've been working with them for months. So it seems odd for me to answer this at this time, but really excellent coaches that really fit into our staff, the chemistry, their teaching ability, their backgrounds are all very good fits. Now, that's not by accident. Coach Arasimiak and I spent a lot of time. We are really, really particular about our hiring process. Now, are we perfect? No. We've made mistakes. But we really, really work hard to make sure that it's a fit with our organization in every way. Culturally, technique-wise, scheme-wise. These 2 guys are really good. Now, how do you allocate the resources? That's a great question, because we didn't operate the way we are now. We didn't have a defensive ends coach and a defensive line coach. It's just when you look at your staff, and I deal with the coordinators, we sit and we talk and we say, what's the best way to utilize the resources that we have? And where do we really feel like we can make an advancement And, the old days of saying, this staff's going to be together for 20 years, that doesn't happen anymore. So you literally try to build it each year to make it the best it can be. And then, if you hire the right people, they're going to get hired away, whether it's for head jobs or coordinator jobs. I stopped worrying about that years ago, trying to have the best outfit we can put together for 2024.
Greg, a little bit of a unique one here. I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but the NFL proposed a change to the kickoffs. You've been a big proponent about changing kickoffs in the past. Any thoughts on that?
I saw what the change was supposed to be, right, where the kickoff is back, but the line moves up and it decreases. I think it's a good thing to decrease the high-speed collisions. Obviously, we have the most personal of it in Eric, right? And that's why I proposed something different years ago. I still think that's a viable solution. I hope that this works. I understand why people want this, because they want to keep the play. And they're trying to take a play that inherently is more risky than any other play in football because of the high-speed collision that occurs. And they're trying to take the high speed out of it by putting the players closer together. There's always things that come about. When you make such a substantial rule change, there's always things that come about, and it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm sure college football will be looking at it closely. And, what happened in the National Football League, by changing the rule last year, they kicked the ball, and most of them were touchbacks, right? So it went from, I don't know the stats exactly, but became a 20% return, which that's not what they were looking for. So this is an attempt to get that play back into the game. I hope it works. We just got to keep tinkering with it, but we got to make the game. It's a violent, tough game for tough people, but you got to make it as safe as you can.
You had two former players now on the coaching staff who made some moves this offseason. Scott Vallone, tight end, now David Rowe, quality control. To have former players come in and now coach, what does that mean for you on a personal level, but also they understand the system, they understand what you're trying to do?
Yeah, more importantly than the system, they understand our culture. Systems change, details change, but the culture is not going to change. That's who we are. That's how we operate. And Scott has earned his way, right? Scott stepped away. He was at Fordham, and he was in a leadership role. And he stepped away 4 years ago when we came back and sacrificed for our program. Came here as a quality control assistant and worked his way up. And we all felt, Kirk and I especially, felt that Scott deserved the opportunity to be tight ends coach. And he's doing a great job. So excited about that. We had the opportunity. David Rowe was available, which is rare that a guy of that quality is available this time of year. But when we had the opportunity to get him, we certainly did it without thinking, because he's an excellent DB coach, and you guys remember him as a player. That same approach. He was always a very smart player. He's a very smart coach, and fits right in with our defensive staff. I think he's going to help in many ways.
Greg, you talked about how valuable the bowl practices were, but after the winning experience, how did it have an effect in training and now getting back on the field?
I just think in your program, that's a good vibe. Coming off a bowl victory in a local game where there was a lot of coverage, I think everybody feels good about it. But we were very clear at the beginning. We didn't come here to go to to go to a bowl game and win the bowl game. We came here to win championships, and it's definitely going to a bowl game and winning a bowl game is a step on that journey. But there's absolutely no satisfaction or anybody feeling like, oh, we achieved something. It was a momentary, as I said, it was an exit. And that was a good exit, right? Going and winning a bowl game, but now, it's a mile marker, I should say. It's not our exit. We keep cruising forward because we know that winning a championship, that's where we're trying to get to. And it's hard. We're in I believe, the finest league in the country. It's going to be very hard, but we have to be really – I just got done telling the team, if you want to do something really special, you got to do something really special. So that's what we're up against.
Greg, you mentioned the position changes. What went into a Monkwood, a receiver, and a Fury to DB?
Just thought it gives us the best chance to put together our 24 team. Yeah, they're multi-talented. They can play on either side of the ball, and you're always fidgeting, kind of tweaking your own squad, and that's all it is.
What are the things about Ethan that stood out to you when you were recruiting him, and what does he add to the quarterback room?
Well, Kirk obviously has experience with him from the University of Minnesota, so we knew him. We knew the competitor he is. We knew, he has a background in this system, and it was a guy that we believe in, and it gives us a chance to create competition, and hopefully the cream will rise to the top, and we'll have better quarterback play in 24 than we did in 23.
As we haven't talked to you since you got a lot of these guys back, experienced veteran guys. One, how important was NIL in retaining a lot of these guys, and just what's your overall reaction to having veteran guys back to help this team?
Yeah, when you start looking at guys, I always look at cumulative repetitions. So I start looking at guys, and guys got 1,800 reps in our program. He's got 1,300 reps, game reps. That's substantial. Been there, done that is real. Keeping them together was very important, not only for those repetitions, but for the leadership they provide. When a guy is in your program for 4 or 5 years, he certainly has made it there because he's a believer in the culture, and now he can be a cultural proponent. He'll teach the young guys. He'll really grow the culture. That's the single most important thing. They'll play, and they'll play well because they're good football players, but what they can do to help build and grow the program is critical. It's hard in this day and age, right? Everybody's moving everywhere. We're very fortunate that we have a group of guys that's committed to this program, to this family, and certainly could have made more money elsewhere. And we work our tail off to get them as much as we possibly can, but it is a battle, and one that, if it's in your heart to do it, we need the help, because that's real. That's the landscape that we are a part of now. And as I've expressed publicly, I hope that we can get this thing figured out and get our arms around it as a institution of college football. But until we do, this is the world we're in, and you either adapt or you lose. And we don't plan on losing, so we have to adapt.
Just what's your assessment of who you have at tight end, and how do you kind of see that battle playing out with the guys that you have at that position?
Yeah, it's a really good battle, right? I mean, between Kenny and Mike and Victor, and then we have all the young guys. I think there's talent at the position. What we need to do is develop it, and Coach Vallone's new at the position as well, right? So I'm excited to see them develop, but we need to develop. And it reminds me, I want to wish Coach Orrick good luck, right? He got just an unbelievable opportunity to be the head coach at Harvard, and we're excited for him, and we're certainly rooting hard for him. Sinjin Erkson, who was on our staff, went with Andy to Harvard, so we wish him the best as well. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you covering us.